Hello everyone and welcome back into another video. Today we're once again back in Warframe for another build, and this time we're having a look at Cyte-09 because this Warframe is kinda weird and also kind of boring but also amazing. It's a weird Warframe, but I really like him. First of all, he does kinda look like a super soldier from Helldivers, so that's just bonus points. And second of all, he has access to both invisibility and wall lock. So yeah, that's also kind of fun. That's enough introductions for now, so let's jump into the build. Alright, first of all, let's have a look at his abilities and the passive. The passive allows Cyte to gain up to 300% more weakspot crit chance whenever he gets a weakspot kill. This bonus will not expire unless you finish the mission, so that's pretty cool. Moving on, we have his first ability called Seek. This one allows you to deploy on the ground this antenna that will scan enemies in a very big radius and also for a very long duration. It will also highlight the weak spot of those enemies, grant your weapons additional punch through, and also give you more weak point damage, which is a lot of stuff for just one ability. You can have up to 3 of these antennas at any point, which means you can pretty much search the whole map with your antennas and just snipe all the enemies from a safe spot. Moving on, we have resupply. This allows you to throw on the ground this ammo packs that will both increase your damage and also grant you one additional status of your choice with guaranteed proc. And if you're using a sniper rifle, this damage boost is pretty much doubled. To choose the element you want, you have to hold the ability, and if you just want to spam the ability, just cast it, and Cyte-09 will throw on the ground either the last selected element or a random one if you hadn't selected an element yet. You can have a maximum of 6 ammo packs at any moment, so be careful and do not waste your energy. Then we have his third ability called Evade. Casting the ability allows you to perform a backflip and then become invisible for a short-ish duration. The ability has a 60 seconds cooldown, but with every weak spot kill you gain additional duration on the ability. And additionally you also gain some HP back if you need healing, but he is very squishy, so you either have HP or you don't have HP, so it's kinda meh. So basically what this means is that this ability grants you permanent invisibility, which is the strongest way to stay alive in Warframe, so yeah, it's kinda broken. And it's also the helmet ability, so yeah, even crazier. And finally, to make this Warframe even more interesting, he gets a special sniper rifle from his fourth ability. Casting Neutralize summons the Neutralizer, which is Cyte-09's Exalted sniper rifle. The first cast of the ability costs 5 energy base, and every time you shoot the sniper rifle it will cost you additional energy. The sniper rifle deals a lot of damage. The alt fire shoots a cold grenade that will freeze enemies, which is nice because it allows you to just snipe them in the head without too much effort. Every time you get a weak spot hit, the projectile will also ricochet up to 4 times. This ricochet has both a range, which is not a big deal because it's 19 meters with this build, and it also loses damage every time it bounces, but it will deal millions of damage, so it doesn't really matter. Moving on to the Archon Shards, this is pretty much what I recommend for this specific build, and that is 1 Archon Shard with ability strength, 1 with ability duration, 1 with casting speed because it just makes him a bit better in general, and you will also need 1 blue shard with energy maximum, but more on that later. And the last spot can either be more duration or more power strength, and you can of course add anything else you like. And these are the mods I'm using on my Cyte-09. Worthy Camaraderie on my R-slot because it does increase weak spot crit chance, and that's what we are going to focus on. Prime Sure-Footed is not needed because enemies won't attack us because we are going to be invisible, but it's nice to have for like certain random scenarios that can happen in a mission, so I suggest using it if you have it, but it's not really mandatory. Agro Message and Prime Continuity for more duration, overextended for a lot of ability range at the cost of ability strength. Rolling Guard to become invulnerable for 3 seconds after a dodge, so it's basically a free get out of jail card. Prime Flow for more energy maximum. Umbral Intensify and Transient Fortitude for a ton of ability strength. And finally Energy Nexus for 3 energy regen per second, which is great because it does also work while our neutralizer is active and we are not shooting, so it's pretty much just passive energy regen and we don't have to do anything for that. Moving to the Arcanes, I am using Molt Augmented for 60% more ability strength and Arcane Crepuscular for 15% more ability strength and 2x final critical multipliers. And this basically means more damage, which is great. And of course, the higher the rank, the better the stats, so if you can get a rank 5, that would be great. Moving to the neutralizer, these are the mods I'm using on this weapon. It's probably not the best build, but it does work. And if you can hit headshots every time, this weapon will deal millions of damage, which is pretty cool. There is a new saturation mode that grants you more damage if you are invisible, so if you have that one, use it. I just do not have it yet. And now for weapons, you can use any primary and melee weapon you like, but for secondary weapons, we are going to focus on the Prism Angstrom, and especially the Incarnon form, because that will pretty much devastate the whole map with Cyte-09, and you'll see how crazy this thing can be. First of all, these are the Incarnon evolution, and they are mostly focused on critical stats, and also, if you notice, the second evolution only activates the passive if we have over 700 energy, and that's why we needed that blue shard. This is the build I have on my Prism Angstrom. You can of course change any of the mods you prefer. I just think this is more than enough for what I'm going to do. Moving to the companion, you can use anything you like. I just wanted to use my Hound because I haven't used it in a while, and it's quite nice because it does spread a lot of statuses to all enemies in range. And we also gain an additional 30% ability efficiency from this mod whenever our neutralize is active, because that counts as a channeled ability. And finally, I guess this is the build on my Arcane, which is the weapon the Hound uses, but yeah, it's just a lot of status and a lot of status types, and that's pretty much it. Okay, that was pretty much the build, so let's now see it in action. So first of all, we are going to only use the Prism Angstrom, and that's what we like, because this weapon, it's kind of funny. And if we select Blast or any other element, it doesn't really matter. We go into the Incarnon form, and that will clear, as you can see, the elemental type, because that's how Incarnon works. But it won't matter, because this weapon will ricochet between heads and deal millions and millions of red crit damage, which is great. And yeah, that's pretty much gonna be the way we play Cyte with this build. Only focusing on hitting headshots, and of course, if we go invisible, we can pretty much gain primary invisibility, because the save will just ricochet between heads and deal a lot of damage. And yeah, just grant us additional time on our invisibility. And yeah, the enemies just died. It's kind of broken, I know. It's kind of funny actually. And somehow this pistol is on par, if not just better than the rifle with the build I'm using. But yeah, I mean, you can have a choice. You can either go for the rifle or the pistol. I just think the pistol is funny, and you also don't have to just camp in one spot and hide and just snipe through walls, because that's kind of boring for me. But you can do it. You can just swap to your neutralizer and do that if you like it. I just don't think it's funny, but I mean, if you want to, you can. And of course, you always can go back to your secondary weapon whenever you want, because the neutralizer will stay active, not draining any energy, and it's just there. You just swap to it, hit a few enemies with it, swap to your secondary weapon, do the same thing. You know, it's kind of cool. Yeah, this is balanced. This is exactly what he intended. Being able to just snipe enemies from anywhere in the map while being invisible, and also being able to have access to all these elements for, yeah, pretty much free. So pretty much you have access to gameplay modes. You can either just go around invisible and shoot enemies with this ricocheting weapon, which is super fun, or you can just hide in a corner being lonely and just snipe through walls, and I guess that's also something you can do. I just don't really enjoy that, but of course that's just my taste, and yeah, you can do whatever you like. And that's pretty much Cyte-09 with my build. I think it does feature some interesting mechanics, and it's not just going to be you standing in a corner and hiding from enemies, but yeah, I do like more an active playstyle, so that's why I made this build. And of course, if you have any tips or any recommendations, leave them in the comments, because they will help both me and other players make this build even better. Anyways, I will now leave you guys to the showcase, where I test this build for 5 minutes in a survival, so you can see how it performs in a more realistic scenario. Oh, and by the way, Merry Christmas! This is probably going to be the last video for now, and I will see you guys, I guess, either the 29th for a long stream, if it can happen, or next year. Have fun with your loved ones, and I wish you the best. If you enjoyed the build, leave a like and subscribe for more content. Have a great rest of the day, and bye-bye.
So vibrate in the imperfection. In the pain, there's something real. All that anger so concealed. Still you're lost in how to feel. Just like Oh, it was never meant to fall apart. It was not supposed to cause us harm. But these days, all I do is wonder, is it better now that we can start again? Isn't the pain there's something real? Oh, that anger so concealed. Still you're lost in how to feel. Just let me hold. Oh, that's severed world. The pieces feel so cold. Oh, all the tears won't bring it back to life. But hate will always go. Now look at where I'm standing. Take my head apart. It's borderline chaos with an inch of sight. While the ceremony's about to start, I caught you red-handed. I see you in the dark. Beside the bonfire, warmed by the flame. Feed me distractions while you're tossing me in. If I